Today's episode is sponsored by Skillshare.
Don't forget to tell Uncle Louie that I left the red wine in the refrigerator, all right?
You know it's the 80s when the red wine needs to be cold. One of my favorite parts of this movie is the score, and yet before we meet Mr. Miyagi, Bill Conti gave us the most generic 80s adventure music ever, which sort of works towards making us feel like the movie doesn't really start until Miyagi shows up.
Okay, we got it, come on!
Fun fact, that is neither Ralph Macchio nor Randy Heller. Even though we feel like we've been with them, this is actually the first time Daniel is even in the movie. I never noticed Frankie's shirt.
Hey, we're having a beach party, sorta ideal summer. You wanna come?
Yeah, sure, that's cool.
That is some friendliness, neighborliness. It was a rule in the 80s that the eventual mentor had to be a little scary or intimidating at first, but even Pat Morita's worst mad dog still makes you like him.
When are you gonna fix the faucet?
After.
After what?
After.
And this is why casting Arnold from Happy Days was the right call for the wise master. Come out to the coast, we'll get together, beaches are amazing. Love at first sight, and who could blame, well, Daniel. Right in the face, and he just keeps going. So, were karate headbands just all the rage in 80s California?
1, 2.
This is actually some of the most realistic flirting of all time. Slightly awkward, feels natural.
Fruit time, man. Fruits for warming. Here you go.
No, I pass, man.
See, Johnny really is the hero of the story. Abstaining like that, the poor kid just wanted to have the best senior year ever.
See? Yeah, watch this. I'll get it.
Aw, Daniel-san, ever the optimist. She just deliberately drop-kicked your ball away and you still think it's all good.
Hold on.
He treats him like a bull. Never noticed that before.
Come on, it's better if you leave him alone.
You know, sometimes that is true, especially since he got the wind knocked out of him and can't talk. They moved into this new place, and 2 mornings later, Mrs. LaRusso already has a bunch of garbage stuck to the fridge. Just pictures of cake.
Hey, Karate Kid.
Given that, the title feels like a last-minute scramble before the posters were printed. And fun fact, it basically was. The Karate Kid Project was just Robert Kamen's working title, so he just removed Project. Allie picks up juggling almost as fast as Daniel picks up karate, so it's like in-universe continuity.
I'll see you later.
Definitely.
Yep. What else matters when you've got young love? Tight back handspring. Something that might be lost on people who don't care about soccer or have never played is that it's clear Ralph Macchio can actually play well. So getting kicked off the team would actually be a big deal to him.
Hey, help me, man. I said out of here.
Oh, I fell off my bike.
Okay, no hurt the hand.
Ah, Miyagi, not only a karate master, but also a master detective.
Have some pie, I made it myself. Yeah.
Either Elizabeth Shue is an amazing actress or that joke caught her off guard. I mean, it can be both.
Remember that guy you had trouble with on the beach?
Oh yeah, King Karate.
See what I mean? If they had been rushing with the series, it wouldn't have been called Cobra Kai. Kreese is somehow a mustache-twirly psycho with a freaking cardboard cutout of himself in his dojo, but also always feels threatening in a very real way.
I can't hear you.
This background scene with the Cobra Kai kids noticing and planning their attack unfolds the entire time Daniel is talking to his mom.
Careful how you ride home.
Ha!
I don't know. She's beautiful. I'd say she's beautiful. I think she's beautiful.
Normalize actors mumbling nonsense to themselves in movies again.
She's hot. Definitely hot.
Look, people like to say this is attempted murder, but that's actually a grassy hill. Just because Daniel doesn't know how to take a fall, something they were specifically trying to teach him.
Here's your first lesson, how to take a fall.
And something you do need to learn in all martial arts doesn't make them attempted murderers. I'm mostly joking. My point is that they pushed him down a hill, not off a cliff, and it's absolutely something a bunch of bullies would have done in the 80s.
Why can't we just go home?
Oh man, I love that Miyagi comes out to nod knowingly for the audience and then just goes back inside. But more importantly, hints at his Japanese pan flute / Japanese recorder theme are finally here. Camo pants.
How do I know if my picture's the right one?
If come from inside you, always right on.
Miyagi has already started teaching Daniel life lessons and he's just barely had his life threatened yet. What a guy.
You fixed your bike. Oh no, Mr. Miyagi fixed it.
It's so humble old Miyagi to correct Daniel's pronunciation of the baby tree before bothering with his own name.
Bonsai tree.
Bonsai.
Bonsai.
Hiya, champ.
Ah, Mrs. LaRusso always believed in her boy. Some visual storytelling throwing Johnny between Daniel with an L and Allie with an I.
To make honey, young bee need young flower, not old prune.
Gross. Maybe keep some wise words inside.
I don't have a costume anyway.
If have costume, You go?
Hey, the shower ring and curtain are behind him.
Don't know what she sees in him. She must be into fungus.
Nah, I get it, because mold grows in showers. She's a quick one. But also, Daniel really is the villain here. Johnny was trying to turn his life around, and Daniel drove him to drugs. The new in thing to do was for everyone to blame Daniel for antagonizing the Cobra Kai kids, but you've got to remember, he was just trying to grant Allie's wish.
I'd love to see him get a dose of his own medicine.
Well, you know, what goes around comes around.
What's wrong?
It's coming around.
After Allie trips them, you hear bones hitting the ground. It's all happening fast, but I love that keen-eyed viewers might have recognized Miyagi's green door from earlier. Hey, you can't break signs about not breaking stuff. So, this is the first time that I realized that Morita didn't do some of the fighting since he doesn't have any martial arts background, but Fumio Demura, the real-life Miyagi, is such a perfect stand-in I never noticed. To the point that even his slightly slowed actions fit with Miyagi's character.
Hey, where'd Spider-Man go?
It was more likely in his unconscious state that the random kid he saw in the bathroom was the real Spider-Man and saved him than little old Miyagi.
Miyagi ancestor called karate, empty hand.
While we are learning about the origins of karate from Miyagi, take notice of the talent between these two actors in another ridiculously long 5.5-minute oneer.
No offense, Mr. Miyagi, but I don't think you understand my problem.
Miyagi.
And it's not until he saves his life that Miyagi decides to correct Daniel's pronunciation.
No such thing, bad student, only bad teacher.
It's an amazing scene either way, because Miyagi realizing there's a crappy teacher out there is the main reason he decides to train Daniel in the first place.
Because I get killed if I show up there.
Get killed anyway.
Canter.
No get involved.
Oh, but you already are involved. I mean, you
There are so many iconic things in this movie, even Miyagi's little nonsense rebukes.
involved. I mean, you. Hey, what kind of belt do you have?
Canvas. You like? J.C. Penney, $3.98.
And even when he's being a jokester, he can't help but give Daniel another karate lesson.
Karate here. Karate here. Karate never here.
I never noticed that the kid looked back before, which, yeah, Kreese is still a psychopath, but it wasn't exactly the unprovoked bullying I assumed. It was slightly provoked bullying since the kid wasn't giving the punch the air practice his full attention.
You calling Mr. Lawrence a liar?
No call no one nothing.
Morita's fake ESL accent is only weird once you hear him speak not as Miyagi, so I recommend not doing that, or watching Sanford and Sons. But every line is so quotable.
It stinks, man. What is this?
Smell bad, hear good.
What's the matter? The boy can't take care of his own problems?
5-1 problem. Too much ask anyone.
I like that he implies that it was even too much for him, even though he did it.
You're a pushy little bastard, ain't you?
But I like that. I like that.
Best villain delivery ever. Does Miyagi think Kreese might attack them from behind? Yeah, that checks out. It actually plays perfectly into his fighting is a last resort motto. He's not so arrogant as to invite an attack. It's also a sign of respect to not turn your back on someone.
Then nobody bother.
Hell, they'll bury me where I fall.
Either way, problem solved.
Problem-solving advice.
Win, lose, no matter.
Also, that's the ethos of this movie, and I love it.
Walk on the road. Walk right side, safe. Walk left side, safe. Walk middle, sooner or later, get the squish.
Road walking lessons. Also discount Yoda, but it's even better because you don't even need the Force for the parable to work.
Either you karate do yes, or karate do no.
Hey, where'd these cars come from?
Wax on. Detroit.
See, kids, in the late 20th century, things used to be made in the United States.
Circle. Wax on, wax off.
And a million parents all at once realized they could teach their kids karate by protecting their paint jobs.
Must be take a worm for a walk week.
No doubt Johnny beat Tommy senseless later that evening.
Golf and stuff?
Hi, I guess we're going to golf and stuff.
Yeah, that's about right. Painfully, disturbingly, PTSD-edly right. A first date with a hockey, go-karts, golf, trampoline, and photo booth montage is the fastest way to get zip code shamed 3 times in one night.
Where do you live?
Out in, Reseda.
It's funny because as a kid, the training disguised as chores was one of the most memorable parts of the movie, but the filmmakers clearly thought it needed to be broken up since Daniel's Band-Aid disappears on his date with Allie and then reappears when he reports for duty. I'll admit not much happens between sanding, waxing, painting, and more painting, but I don't think I'm alone in it having a special place in my memory. Rather than just montage it all together, we feel Daniel's pain and growing annoyance.
Hold the floor. Hold the fence. Both sides.
Not yet.
I'm not saying I was amazing at the NES Karate Kid bonus fly catching minigame, but I was amazing at it. This is actually an example of the demystification of Miyagi. There's no lesson from catching flies, maybe patience, but really it's just something he likes trying, and Daniel isn't the chosen one because he gets it on his first try. These are real people.
Hey!
The most impressive part of Daniel's painting is that he has not a drop of paint on him. Well, fence paint.
What are you doing? Ow! How did you do that?
Again, I know there's the whole magical Asian thing here, but as a kid I honestly just thought he was warming his hands so they weren't cold on Daniel's skin. And then he just cracked his shoulder to release some tension. After all, Daniel's the magical one.
Hey! Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off, hey, wax on.
25 minutes of training for Daniel to do anything even remotely resembling karate, but the payoff is so super satisfying in a, whoa, that worked kind of way.
Hey, look, I always look, I.
There's just so much build up to this scene, but Daniel is still a kid and Miyagi is still his goofy human teacher. It's so honest. I don't know, fighting the ocean seemed like a losing battle from the get-go. That hard cut from the let's do stuff, upbeat pan flute, classical, to the way more contemplative piece with hints of the main theme. Slightly remystifying Miyagi, but in a grounded way. Fun fact about the racists, they're credited as Yahoo #1 and Yahoo #2. Also alcohol abuse.
Yeah, but you knew karate.
Someone always know more.
Again, just a human doling out life lessons. That is a fact of life no matter who you are or what you do, but so many hero stories ignore it.
In white train.
So I won't have to fight.
Yep.
Miyagi have a hope for you.
Okay, so the timing isn't perfect, but we can see Johnny asking Allie's mom to dance in the background, and then they're dancing behind Allie and her dad. Come up, and since Zapka claimed Elizabeth Shue punched him for real on every take. Haha, I know I just ruined her night, but it was worth it for the humiliation. We all love pratfalls.
Complication, complication, but no doctor come.
I keep coming back to his humanity. We loved Miyagi because we are Miyagi. This man's performance.
On November 2nd, 1944, Manzanar Relocation Center. Your wife and newborn son died.
And just in case this went over your adolescent head as it did mine, while Miyagi was fighting for America during World War II and earning the Medal of Honor, his wife was put into an internment camp and died during childbirth because no doctors came to save her.
Randa free, I'm free. No doctor come.
Man, oh man, the studio wanted to cut this scene because it stalled the progress of the story. This scene realizes Miyagi. He's quiet because he carries pain from loss that most of us can't imagine. He hates fighting because he fought a war with the 442nd. A few racists on the beach don't even dampen his comedic timing because his wife and son died in a Japanese internment camp because of the racism of the country for which he was risking his life. Miyagi would be a mystical man from the East without this scene, but there's reason for who he is, and Daniel learns about it while also seeing that Miyagi isn't magic. He's just a man. Another score transition, but this time from calm and peaceful as Daniel honors Miyagi to his independent training in a more determined piece of music. Bill Conti is telling us Daniel knows what he needs to do and even more importantly knows how to do it now. But am I going crazy or does this piece use a really similar melody to Bach's Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring?
I just don't know if I knew enough karate, you know.
Feeling correct.
Honesty.
You're the best friend I ever had.
You pretty okay too.
More honesty and compliments. Also generosity. And if you ever thought it was a little strange that Miyagi was just giving away cars after a few weeks, keep in mind that he lost his son. And even though late in his life, he's gotten a second chance at being a father. More on that later.
Banzai, Daniel-san!
Hey, Banzai!
Banzai!
So many 80s bangers written for this movie. Well, except for the one that was written for Rocky III.
You are a jerk.
Yeah, I can't believe you knocked that waiter over and ruined that beautiful white outfit. There is a scene that was cut where Allie tries to explain and Daniel blows her off multiple times and then says he just wants them all to leave him alone. So that's what this is about.
Come here.
On second thought, maybe he's a jerk either way, but still hugging. This scene is so frantic. I can feel the terror beyond just having to fight. The terror of your first tournament and not knowing the rules. That's the part that would cripple me. And part of the reason it works so well is because of this oneer that starts with Allie holding the belt, travels alongside them for some faux handheld, and then cranes up above the stands, showing us the entire arena. And it only took 36 takes.
He says you're very kind.
Ah, Thank you. Welcome.
Hey, when are you jerks gonna grow up?
I mean, I'd like to say sometime in 2019, but yeah. Who knew Allie inspired the song? Like, the song is actually playing in Daniel's head, he's just hearing her say it over and over. I'd take best over a tiger eye any day of the week. And the real hero, Johnny Lawrence, still showing us true karate. I can't make up my mind. Poor kid needs to learn how to block those front kicks. Right, because the only actual martial artist competing on film, he's not good, he's phenomenal. Super fast turnaround placard making.
Wouldn't it be great if I won?
Great, you survive.
Survive? What do you mean survive? I'm
Hey,
a
you sure you're
survivor.
okay?
Starting now?
Yeah.
Hey, what do you mean survive? What are you talking?
Even more honesty and more mumbling from the Mumble King. Fun fact, the referee is Pat E. Johnson, an actual karate champion who also did all the choreography for the movie. There really is no one that high odds quite like Johnny Lawrence, and I think Zabka has only gotten better with age.
Quiet! And then send it to the internet!
I don't want him beat. But I'll be disqualified.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Right? You've been thinking he looks like Mark All Movie. Danny's mom was gonna take Bobby out. Can't pretend like that gong hit sync to the clap doesn't give me chills. Hey, that's one he learned by osmosis from Miyagi.
Sweep the leg.
Look, I'm not saying Kreese isn't an insane villain and there isn't a certain level of sportsmanship, but like, Daniel is fighting. There's no avoid the injury rule in sports. Boxers try to open those cuts above the eye. MMA fighters kick the bruised leg. Heck, the striker is going to take the ball at the slowest defender. If you step on the mat, ring, field, pitch, whatever, you can't expect your opponent to not exploit your weaknesses to win. Which is why Johnny gets a point. He was the one questioning the ethicality of sweeping the injured leg. Maybe he's not the hero, but he's always been more than the villain. But just a reminder that Barney Stinson was right about some things. Johnny, and really William Zabka, is just a naturally gifted martial artist. He went into this movie with only a wrestling background, and I would have bet money that he had at least some karate training. Most people don't train for a few weeks and learn to do a nip-up that well. Granted, that's more gymnastics, but look at this guy.
Get him a body bag!
Yeah, I mean, no. Yes, I'm not about ranking stuff, but that kick is up there. Not just because of the spectacle, but Miyagi may not even know that Daniel had been practicing the crane technique since he was doing it all alone. It's like the fulfillment of Daniel taking Miyagi's training seriously and putting it into practice. And how about this score? And some redemption. Can't blame you. If anyone makes you ride like this on the floor, they probably deserve your respect. And more fun facts, originally the opening scene from 2 with Kreese choking Johnny was supposed to be the ending here, but this was clearly the way to end the movie. I'm sure a lot of millennials have the same feeling about The Karate Kid as I do. A lot of memorable movies came out of the 80s, and oddly the auras around some of those movies are often better than the movies themselves. Don't get me wrong, I love The Karate Kid as a movie. Even diving into it like this, it's still great fun. But nothing will ever compare to the feelings I have about it. It's more than nostalgia, though that's a big part of it. There's like a haze around it, or a vogue that just makes it even better than it really is. Like I pointed out, most of the actual karate is tame at best. If you've been following me long enough, you've heard me talk about No Retreat, No Surrender, the VHS that I destroyed watching over and over as a kid. As an adult, I realized it's legit a Karate Kid clone, but way, way, way worse. The acting is...
I thought I'd be there.
The story somehow messes up some of the simple stuff that makes The Karate Kid great, but in one specific way, it's leagues better than The Karate Kid, and that's the actual karate. That's why I loved it so much. Also, who knows what bad acting is when you're 7? But it was directed by Corey Yoon, a seasoned Hong Kong director who knows how to choreograph, block, and shoot engaging fight scenes. The edge I'll give The Karate Kid is realism. I'm not saying Ralph Macchio would have had a real chance against Billy Zabka in the mid-80s, but they were way more closely matched than 5'8", 185 Van Damme versus 5'10", 160 probably Kurt McKinney. The fight scenes in Karate Kid aren't flashy at all, and they feel much closer to real-life fights. I didn't care either way as a kid and pretty much thought both were perfect. But now I believe Daniel could have scored enough points to beat Johnny, in large part because he wasn't angry and had control, which is one of the biggest parts of tournaments like these. Whether that full force face kick was legal will have to be decided another day. Interestingly though, there has to be a universe where John Avildsen didn't direct Rocky and Daniel loses the final match because it was never about winning. But Rocky did happen and this was an 80s coming of age story, so Daniel had to win. I do think Miyagi may have protested a little more. Daniel's speech was cute, but if you need to risk permanent injury in a completely meaningless high school karate tournament to achieve balance with your girlfriend who bails 6 months after attaining said balance, maybe what you were trying to get wasn't so much balance as a sweet victory smooch and a big trophy? Easy, Daniel. I'm being a jerk here. None of this changes how much I love this movie. And if Miyagi looked at Daniel and realized finishing the tournament was the thing he needed, he'd give it to him. I'm not so sure Mrs. LaRusso would have let it happen, but hey.
It's the 80s!
But relationships are what really sell this movie. I touched on it briefly, but the more I think about this film, the more I confirm for myself that karate was like the byproduct of what Miyagi was actually teaching Daniel. For that matter, karate might be the byproduct of karate. If I were to title a video essay about this movie, it would be Parents and the Karate Kid, or something way snappier and less thought up in 60 seconds just now. Fathering, but also mothering the Karate Kid, and all Karate Kids, even the mean ones with pretty hair. Yeah, that's better. Miyagi continually speaks about his father. He taught him to fish, how to trim bonsai, he taught him karate. Miyagi never got a chance to be a father to his son, and therefore could never pass on what his father taught him. Then we have Daniel, who has a rock star mother holding it down alone because his father died when he was young. There is some contention here and there, but I love that Mrs. LaRusso is just doing it because, you know, great single parents exist and raise amazing people. Daniel didn't so much lack a father figure as he was available to have one, if that makes sense. But back to Miyagi. The part that goes unsaid is that the concrete or tangible things that Miyagi's father taught him were always less about the actual skill and more about what you learn through the process. Miyagi never comes out and says that, but it's clear he understood it.
You look revenge that way. Start by digging to grave.
Daniel learned to wax cars, sand decks, paint fences and houses, and balance in precarious places, while obviously also learning essential defensive karate techniques. And even those are their own lessons about life. Balance, patience, trust, persistence, humility, level-headedness, and in the next movie, compassion and mercy. This movie is as much Daniel's coming-of-age story as it is Mr. Miyagi's second chance at passing on his father's wisdom. Even letting Daniel fight in the final match to achieve life balance could be considered fatherly empathy.
A lesson, not just karate only. Lesson for whole life. Whole life. Have a balance.
I won't belabor it. I know it's extremely obvious once you say it aloud, but next time you watch this movie, realize that you're watching a father and son story. It even applies to Johnny and Kreese as well. The Cobra Kai series explores that quite a bit more. It's worth checking out. Miyagi was impossibly old to me when I watched this movie as a kid. Now that my own father is almost a decade older than the character was, and I keep inching closer to Miyagi, further from Daniel, I have a new appreciation for who Miyagi was and the decisions that he made to land where he did. A war hero who lost everything, a karate master who hates fighting. I guess I'm starting to connect more with the father side of the story now, and it's like watching a whole new film. But also this movie is hilarious, and don't let anyone ever let you forget that, not even me.
Weeks. 1 week, 5 weeks. How many weeks is weeks?
No, I'm not very good at it, Mr. Miyagi.
Me neither.
Well, I really don't have a license.
Me neither.
Well, they agreed not to beat up on me, and I promised not to get my blood on their clothes. How did you do that?
Don't know. First time.
Oh, you always behind here!
Jungle King Karate.
So, we won't all be lucky enough to meet our own Mr. Miyagi. And banking on that would be silly, especially when for a limited time, the first 1,000 of my fans can get Skillshare for free if you join using my link at the top of the description. And just like Daniel started right with karate basics, you can start with an introductory DSLR photography class from Justin Bridges. His class begins with exactly how to use your camera by giving easy to follow explanations of aperture, shutter speed, and ISO to more advanced techniques like controlling the amount of bokeh and editing tips and tricks. Or if watching Daniel work out and get his life in order has got you itching to up your productivity game, there are tons of classes for that. Or if you're more into writing, illustration, or business, Skillshare has a class for you in their online learning community. They have thousands of classes designed to help you create new skills or expand ones you already have. And an annual subscription is less than $10 with the first 1,000 of my fans to click the link at the top of the description, and join will get a free trial Skillshare premium membership so that they can try some different classes. So check it out. There's always a new class or topic. I know you'll get a lot out of it, and it's a massive help to the channel. Link is in the description.
Enemy discerned. No mercy.
I like that.